Hello, friends. Welcome back to my podcast. It's been a minute. The past 2 months have been intense, wholesome, slow, but also fast. All the things, basically. And basically, like the kids would say, life has been lifing, and I allowed myself to take a step back, to go inwards, to be in the process, and I guess to be fully present and take it all in. But before I go further and share more with you, I want to say warm welcome to all of you. And if you're new to the podcast, I'm Isa-Welly. I'm a business mentor for soul-led well-being practitioners that want to increase their income and stop trading time for money. So this podcast, which I started 4 years ago, I believe, is a reflection, I guess, of my own evolution, personal and professional. It started with nutrition, fitness, and well-being. It then evolved into more mindset content, sharing my journey and learnings while building a digital well-being business, to where I am now, a place for digital entrepreneurs, especially well-being practitioners, to find inspirations and tools they need to create the freedom they really want to experience in their lives. So I want this podcast to be mainly a place of inspiration. Of course, I'll share strategy and tools as well. I'll talk about mindset, whether it's related to money, business, or life, spirituality, self-development, and digital marketing and strategy to help you grow your well-being business online without burning out or losing yourself in the process. So today is a bit of a catch-up episode, but I also wanted to share it with you because I wanted to show you how your business can be built in a way that supports your life. So many times in the past few weeks, I've stopped to think about the conscious choices I've made in the past that have led me here as in the privilege to have a freedom of time and location within my work, within my life, so that I can go and do as I please. And it's a blessing that I really, really cherish. Okay, so what I've been up to the past few weeks. The past 8 weeks, if I'm completely honest with you, they've been quite intense. And I didn't really realize it. And I didn't realize because I've been, like most of us, in go mode, do mode, instead of being in be mode and realizing, hang on a minute, there's some like shifts and breakthroughs and intense things happening one after the other. I need to slow down, and I was forced to slow down, but some of you already know that I'm a mom, and towards the end of my pregnancy in summer 2022, I guess a journey has started and that I think now has come to a close, at least that chapter. Not that healing journey has ever come to a close, but I feel like that chapter has closed, and that's what I've experienced the past 2 months, the closure of that chapter. And what I have experienced have been personal breakthroughs that I did not really see coming, like intense release of grief that I didn't even know existed in my body, and how that consequently affected my gut health in a positive way. And I really felt like in March, I was someone, and that now, as we speak, I'm the same person, but through a completely different lens, And it's exciting, but it's also scary because I'm like, wow, sometimes we feel like nothing is really shifting, is moving. And all of a sudden we have a breakthrough, and all of a sudden we're almost like different people, like new people. And yeah, it's mind-blowing. Humans, we are mind-blowing, aren't we? And that only happened, I think, because I was in a state of being. I was forced to move into a state of being. I felt really exhausted the past, like from mid-March up till end of April. And I couldn't understand what was happening, but I think I can perhaps explain that in a linear way, as in, oh yeah, but my daughter wasn't sleeping, my gut health this, my gut health that. But what was happening, I was being really forced to slow down, to see that, okay, things are shifting, things are about to shift real fast. Buckle up, girl, because we're about to go through it, And I'm glad it did. And what I did to help that as well was to focus on only one thing, which was my mentees at that point. It's like, I'm only going to focus work-wise on my mentees. I'm going to not create as much content or podcasts and things like that. Just give 100% to the mentees and 100% of my personal life to myself and, create that space. And what that did is I was able to experience these personal breakthroughs and shift at a more profound level, but I also think faster. And I want to share with you some of the things I got reminded throughout the past 2 months that I kind of already knew some of them, but they were big reminders. And I think there's a big difference in between knowing a theory, something we get taught by teachers, whether it's practical, spiritual, or completely out there, and embodying that theory, living it and really getting it. It's like, okay, I get this now. I understood it, but now, I get it. I feel it in my body. The first one is when you feel stuck in whatever it is in your life. For those of you who believe in a higher power, God, in angels, whatever it is you believe in, ask for help. Ask for help. But the most important part, which now I understand better, is to quiet down to receive that help. For me personally, often when I ask God for help, the answer will come as in like an intuition, a super quick thought that will just go like really fast. And if I'm in my like go mode, do mode, I'm busy constantly on Instagram scrolling, drowned in the noise in everybody else's business and society thoughts and all of that, I won't hear it. I will hear it if I'm in the B, if I'm slow, if I'm aware of my surroundings, what's happening, if I'm aware of what's happening in me, then I'll catch that thought and I'll be like, that was the answer. This is the answer. Let me run away with it and do whatever I need to do with it. So when you feel stuck, ask for help, but more importantly, quiet down so that you can receive that help and see it and hear it. For some people, it's going to be a stranger in the street or reading something on a bus. Like, it can come in so many different ways. But again, we have to be open to receive it and have the space to receive it. The second one is about grief. Now, I personally always felt or thought that I didn't have much grief because I always associated grief, intense grief at least, with losing someone close to me and not processing that or being in the process of processing it. And one of the biggest breakthrough I had the past few months, if not the biggest one, has been to understand that grief can come from so many other places and that we need to release it as often as we can, at least when we're aware of it. I wasn't aware, I basically was listening to a podcast about gut health, which I never do. And the only reason why I listened, because the day before this happened, I was having a really bad gut flare and I just couldn't understand why it wasn't like I've been eating sugar or something but I've been having this intense gut flare. And I just felt like I was tired of it. I was like, God, like I've been like 10 years having gut issues. And I know that, I've worked through it. There were so many things I had to work through. I had to improve my diet and I've done all of that in the past 10 years. I've been so good. Why is this still here? What is it that I'm not seeing? What is the lesson? Please show me the way because I am so sick and tired of this. Show me the damn way. And I was asking that question. I did say, I know that this is not just physical. I know I'm holding something in my body. Is it just my controlling side? What is it? Please show me the way. The next day, I'm listening to my usual podcast, an episode on Gaia. I don't really listen to Gaia at all. As a fact, I've never listened to anything from Gaia. So I don't know why it popped up in my suggestions. Maybe because I listen to other spiritual podcasts. Popped up about like gut health. And I was I don't really listen to them anymore as such not because I know everything, but because often it's repetitive. And that's not really the content I'm interested in at the moment. But I thought, okay, is is this the sign? Is there something in here? I've asked God to help me. I'm going to click. I'm going to click and listen. And the first few minutes of the episode, the woman was talking about the usual. So I was a bit like, I wasn't really like focusing. I actually think I went in my shower while it was playing. And when I came out of the shower, just at that time, like maybe a few seconds after, she started talking about losing her mother at 10. And she started going into the story, and something in my head, that light bulb moment, you know, when you have your light bulb moment, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And how it's related to, you know, how that triggered a lot of gut issues for her. At that age, for me, what happened with my mom is that my mom had, I've seen my mom had one of her first epileptic crises, or one of the first I've seen, and she fell on my laps. And I was between, I would say I was between 10 and 12. I can't remember exactly. She fell on my lap. My aunt was braiding my hair. They were actually having an argument that really triggered her. We then called the ambulance, and my little brother told me many times the years after that, I ran after the ambulance. I was crying. I was screaming. I do not remember this. I clearly blocked it out. And that moment came back as this woman was talking, literally. And she was talking about how those things stayed in our body and processed, and how the relationship with our mothers, something that has to do with the gut. At that point, I think, honestly, guys, I don't even think I was listening to the podcast anymore. The things were just flashing in my head. And she started talking a little bit about grief. And I actually stopped the podcast and I got dressed quickly and I put some notes down in my journal. And I was like, okay, this is shaking me. Really, like, I felt really shaken. And that same afternoon, I decided to go with it, go with grief, gut health, and do randomly, these thoughts are coming in my head, right? And it's not random. This is literally like what I've asked God the day before. I'm thinking, okay, I need to do a somatic class. This is not something I'll ever do. I've never done somatic movement, like just sit and get up and do a somatic class. But I was like, let me go online. And I found a couple of somatic classes and I did them. And let me tell you, the release, these were specifically 15 minutes classes to release grief. And I remember starting the class thinking, okay, I know that I don't have grief. I kept saying that to myself, right? Crazy. And then it was just so clear. It was just insane. Sorry, there was a noise behind me. And the release was insane. I just cried for like 3 hours. And the week after and the month after, just a lot of tears. And I just felt like I was really in my heart and just felt that release. And then I felt a big shift as well in my gut, like how things were easier to heal. And I was like, wow, I was literally blown away. And I guess what I want to share with you today is that if, like me, you associated grief with loss of a person, of a parent, of a relative, um, just know that grief can be so many other things. And for me, I think there was a grieving of my childhood, my teens, because what followed that episode of my mom having an epileptic crisis, the 3, 4, 5 months, and then years that followed that is my parents started separating. And I remember going into adult mode really quickly. And those flashes literally came back the past couple of months. Like images will just pop back in my head. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember this happened and then that happened. And yeah, that's what happens when you ask God for the next step. He's like, yep, let's go. I'm about to deliver, you know. But I'm great. I'm really, really, really grateful for that. The third thing I want to share also is that breakthroughs like that can come at unexpected moments and they can be uncomfortable. Lean into them and ask for help to be supported. And I know that I'm so grateful for teachers and guides on the way. And for me, these have been people that I don't necessarily know, like that woman on the podcast sharing her story, you know, other podcasts I listen to, a part of the book, something that someone will say at that moment where you're going through it. All these things, all these teachers, these people are your guides. They're your little angels showing up to help you move through that discomfort, move through the healing, through the growth, because growth and healing will bring that, and yeah, without those teachers, those healers, those that I chose and those that just come through, I'd still be stuck in my own ways and repeating the same patterns and the same BS in a way, because sometimes we're just not aware, we're just not aware. And that's also another thing, is meeting ourselves with compassion and saying, okay, I'm starting, and show me the way. The other thing I want to share as well is that the only way is through, and that this is something, I've known for a while, but I've really experienced it the past few months, really, really experienced it, that as uncomfortable as it can be sometimes, to allow myself to feel the discomfort that the growth, the healing can bring, and to allow myself to move through it without resistance, without trying to structure it. Oh, I'm feeling this way. Let me run to something, a supplement or someone, and just be in it. Let it move through you, because the faster you allow, the more you allow it, the faster it moves through you, the faster you release it. And I guess the faster you move to the other side and feel that release, that lightness, and you feel that lightness is such a beautiful feeling. I used to resist, personally, I used to resist anything that had to do with me, working through uncomfortable stuff, especially like my childhood, understanding why I reacted a certain way, because I knew those things would be painful. And it used to scare the shit out of me, if I'm honest with you. I used to think, oh God. And I remember my best friend, Dunya, she's a healer, she's a shaman. She's a beautiful, beautiful healer. I remember seeing her doing the work and really going inwards and understanding and things about herself, and me thinking, oh God, why would you want to do that to yourself? you know, until I got pregnant and everything came rushing to my face, and I had no choice but then to unpack and move through and understand and allow myself to become this new person. Or it's not even becoming a new person, but allowing other sides of myself that I've shut down to come through, because those those parts of myself are just beautiful as well, um and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I decided to go through it, because in a way I felt like I didn't have the choice. If I really wanted to be the mother that I am, that I want to be, I had to go through these things and grow through these things. Not go through, grow through, because I don't take it as, oh, I'm going through it, I'm growing through it. So yeah, these are some of the lessons that I have been reminded the past couple of months, and that I wanted to share with you. And another thing I want to share with you is, when it comes to work, how my previous business have supported me the past few months and beyond. I unconsciously decided to step back a little bit because of all the things I just talked to you about. And I needed to digest it all. And I needed to not be constantly thinking, oh my God, this week I haven't done the podcast, I have to do this. I've also traveled, if I'm honest with you. I took a week off with my family. We went to the south of France to see my sister. I also had to dash for 3 days to celebrate my brother's 55th birthday. So there was a little bit of traveling in there as well. But more importantly, I wanted to have the space for all this grieving that I'm talking to you about. And one of the biggest part of it has been also seeing my dad slowly transition. His health is not great, and it's been deteriorating quite fast. And in a way, I'm seeing him transition, and it's really painful. And also, while I'm seeing him transition, I'm also grieving an old way of being, of working, that he has taught me, that has served me incredibly the past 30 years, to work hard, to really grind and hustle and go for the top, go for what I want. And that has served me, because I had an incredible dance career. I worked with some of the best, biggest artists in the world. I have an incredible career as a well-being practitioner, as a Pilates teacher, again, I worked with incredible brands. For those of you who've been with me for a while, things that I wouldn't have done, I didn't think I would do, I would have access to. But now I look back, I'm like, fuck yeah, all the work you've put in, are you kidding me? You deserved it and more, and that has served me. But that way of working that my dad has instilled in me and in all my siblings, has not been serving me anymore, the past few years. And that's something I've been letting go of. I've been grieving as well. It's something that's been actually quite hard for me, but I'm embracing it, working differently, showing up differently, finding that balance between my masculine and feminine energy. So yeah, I wanted to leave the space for that. But in this moment, I am most grateful for the type of business I built as a wellbeing practitioner, because creating group offers that have high impact, that have increased my income in the past from being a Pilates teacher, earning £40 an hour, to being able to do 5-figure launches with one digital program only, have been incredibly impactful and still impact me, because even if I don't nurture my wellbeing community anymore, I still earn from those digital offers I created years ago. And it's because I built my platform, my business for longevity, not just visibility. And I remember it taking time to build the foundation. But then once I got the gist, when I understood what I was doing and what was working and what wasn't, we were like, let's go, And to this day, I still earn from that. And because of that, I can take a year off, like I did from April last year, pretty much, to understand my next step, to go inwards. I can slow down these 2 months and not being stressed about, oh my God, like I have to desperately get a client, or, I have to trade time for hours if I don't work 5 hours. Like all these things, I can relax, but that's because of the business I built. While my current business model as a business mentor is a little different, because I only offer one-to-one as we stand now in mentoring, is the direction I'm going towards. But as I just said, and as I've learned in my previous business as a wellbeing practitioner, you've got to build the foundation first. You've got to have a solid foundation. And I'm building the foundation of my business mentoring, right? Business, really building that by understanding the community I want to serve, working with them closely. And this is a one-to-one, really like at a high level, understanding, being generous with these women that I'm supporting and getting the feedback back. And that feedback is data. And I love one-to-one. Like I absolutely love it, and I missed it. And it's not just I'm supporting them. There's also data that they're giving me back from working with them that I can then use to create the programs that I know will serve many, many more women that can perhaps not afford to work with me on one-to-one, or that rather work in a group, in a group container. So it is important for me right now to build that foundation. And the overview strategy really truly is as simple as that. And it also happens to be the method I use and I created in my mentoring program, which is you clarify, you get clear, crystal clear. You then build and then you scale, and that's my method. It's called CBS, and clarifying is the most important part. Really, truly is. And this is something I'm seeing with my mentees now. There is a lot of resistance in the clarity part, and a lot of wellbeing practitioners, not just the one I work with. I am surrounded by wellbeing practitioners because I used to be one. I have many friends that are wellbeing practitioners. I follow many online. That foundation is not clear. I can name so many practitioners that I'll ask them, I say, okay, what do you do? What are you helping them with? What are you going to use to help them? And they'll be like, oh, I cannot do this and I cannot do that. And I can't, it's like really kind of, it's either that foundation is either wobbly or non-existent. They're not clear on who they're helping, what they're helping them with. They're also not clear on what they actually want. And that, in the last 2 months, I had 3 clarity calls. I'm not offering them officially yet, but I will soon. They're just an hour and a half session. And 2 of the ladies I had that session with, what I realized that they were in work within the job they love, whether it was yoga or fertility and nutritionist, they were doing things they didn't like and it was burning them out, whether it was one-to-one or group classes or whatever it is they were doing, they just didn't like doing it. So the clarity isn't just on who you're going to serve or how you're going to help them. The big clarity is also on what do you want? What is it that you want? What is it that's going to make you thrive? What is it going to make you happy? Because at the end of the day, all this strategy, blah, 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 business is to support your life. So if you don't know what it is that makes you happy, what it is that you're the best in, what it is that you really want to do, if you don't know it, you can't honor it. And when you don't honor it, you're drained, you don't show up, you think you're lazy, you're procrastinating, you don't want to post, you don't want to do this because there's no clarity. There's no clarity. With no clarity, we cannot do anything. So you're building air. Right? You're building air because the foundations, they're non-existent or they're super wobbly, they're wishy-washy. So what do you get? You get wishy-washy results. You show up in a wishy-washy way. And that's what happens. And that's what I'm seeing a lot at the moment. And it can get really uncomfortable when I then ask these women to tune in and get clear on those answers, because a lot of them will feel like solo-led well-being practitioners. You know, these beautiful women that work in an intuitive way are so amazing at helping everybody else. They feel like by getting clear, they are being narrowed down. I can only work with one type of person, when really the perspective, the shift here is to understand that it's not about closing yourself in a box. It's about being clear about who do you want to start helping right away, right now, who you can help the best, so you can get incredible feedback, so you can get incredible results, so that your business grow on its own. And then you can call in more people, right? It's not about, oh my God, I'm just going to have to work with people that have gut health issues, specifically SIBO, for the rest of my life. You can also do that. Some people do that and they love it. But if that's not what you're like, it's fine, but you still have to start somewhere. I started as a well-being practitioner, I started with Pilates. One thing at a time. I built a strong foundation, right? It was with beginners Pilates. Then I ended up teaching and creating programs for beginners and advanced. But I first came in and built credibility, trust, and all the things you need to build when you're building the foundation of your business first. And then boom, boom, it opens from there. Then I did nutrition. I was doing well-being. But then I already had a solid business. So I didn't have to rebuild the foundation. I already had the foundation, right? So you've got to start somewhere. You've got to be clear and focused and start there. And then you grow from there. You can't just come in with 3 different people you're helping at the same time and doing all the things, right? And often I think a lot of practitioners might see other businesses, other coaches do that, but know that those coaches have started somewhere. You go back to where they started 15 years ago, right? Always go back to that. So once your foundation is clear and is built, everything will flow with so much more ease. And questions you have like, what content am I going to create today? What kind of offer? I feel stuck. I don't know what to do. That is going to disappear because you are crystal clear about who you're helping. So everything just flow. The only thing you're going to need help with is going to be a strategy, because that's not your expertise. And then that's when you call in, you go, you do a class, you follow podcast, whatever, you go one-to-one mentoring, you coach. But really, truly, questions like what are content I'm going to share, they're there because you're not clear on the foundation, right? And strategy gets to be simple. Strategy really gets to be as simple as, what do you want? How do you want it? Because the choice is always yours. And that's something I've learned the past 10 years and I'm still learning now. You don't need a huge audience, or you don't need to post every day. If you have a strong strategy and you are building your content for legacy and impact, you're not out there just following trends. What's the trend? Let me jump in this trend and then on the other one. Not that that doesn't work. I haven't tried it. But when we're talking about legacy, impact, and longevity, which I talked about in my previous podcast episode, please go and listen to it when it comes to creating content. When it comes to building legacy and impact, we're thinking longevity here. right? We're thinking longevity, we're thinking strategy, and we stick to what we know it's going to work. And we do that well, really, really well. So I guess this episode was a reminder to you, my beautiful friend listening, that when you're building your business, build one that suits the life you actually want to live, the freedom you want to experience that you're craving, not a business that drains you and demands you to forget and squash your life and think about it later because you basically have to run for a one-to-one or have to do this or have to be in the DMs, messaging, texting, feel like you have the constant pressure to post every day. If you don't post, you might not have a client, all these kind of things. That is not true, but it can be true. You get to choose, right? Not all truth or ultimate. You choose your truth, you work on that and you make it happen. You have the power to build your business your way. And as always, I'm here to guide you through it. Email me and DM me if you are looking to be mentored. If you're a well-being practitioner that want to go digital, you're already working with, you already have group classes, or you're perhaps working in real life with students on a one-to-one, but you want to create an offer, a group offer online that will help you increase your income, help you have more time, freedom, and space in your life to also prioritize yourself and live your life and be in the be basically, not just go and do. And I can show you, I can guide you through that without you burning out, without you losing the value of your modality or your work. I help you clarify the foundation, we build it, and then we'll scale. So my friend, thank you so much for listening to me today, pouring my heart, sharing the past 2 months. You'll find me in my DMs. You'll find me in my emails, admin@Isa-Welly.com. And I can't wait to get back to you every week with some fresh new episodes. For now, I want to wish you more impact, increased income, and to live the freedom that we crave, because that's what it is about. I love you very much. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.